This is the story of Yahweh's people, enslaved in Egypt for generations. The light freed them from their chains. Escaping their oppressors, they crossed the Red Sea and fled towards the country of their ancestors, the promised land of Canaan. They traveled through the desert wilderness for 40 long years, with the light guiding their path. At long last, they were back in the land of their forefathers. Israel prospered greatly because the light was with them. But darkness stirred the hearts of mankind. Israel turned away from the light, and evil forces like ferocious Philistines constantly raided and oppressed them. Israel suffered greatly, causing them to turn back to the light again. Yahweh heard the cries of his people and raised up mighty heroes to defend them. They were the judges.
Good morning, good evening, and good night, everyone. Welcome back to the 14th installment of the Kedoshim Initiative Podcast. And this installment, we don't have a special guest to interview, and we aren't doing a top 8 or top 10. This installment, just like the 10th installment, just going to provide a little developer log on the in-house Kedoshim Studios projects that I've been creating, as well as projects that I have been a part of, which, as you saw from the intro, that was the cinematic trailer for Rock Entertainment's first game, Judges TD, which is Daniel Merritt's newly founded Christian entertainment company, while currently focusing on gaming. And it has been a blast being part of that team, and I would share one or two things that I could share outside of the NDA now that things have been revealed in this podcast. But before we get too deep into it, let me know how you guys have been. Normal housekeeping stuff for the regulars. I have been very, very busy. Been really busy, but it's been good. Busy, but good. So let me know how some of you guys have been. Realistic Christian gamers, all of you who have been tuning in to the Sunday live stream with the continued progress of the Parables of the Remnant issue 4 inspired Christian top-down shooter. I appreciate each and every one of you that come out to those Sunday live streams, as well as the regulars that look and may not chat or look at all of the videos. Though for the past couple podcasts, it probably is getting to sappy territory, but the channel consistently every month has between 800 to 1,000 people that consistently come back to view the content from month over month. And to me, that is just amazing to know that more than 800 people tune into a guy in his bedroom covering Christian comics every weekend is just awesome. So I say it every podcast because I really appreciate each and every single one of the 800 of you, even though I think there's only 10 of you that actually comment that I know. But for those of you that always tune in video after video, I just want to say thank you, and I hope you have a great month until the next podcast. So, yeah, because podcasts are a month apart, so yeah. All right, that's enough of me being all sappy and lovey-dovey. Let's get into the actual itinerary for this podcast. Today, we're gonna quickly discuss some of the Kedoshim Studios projects that like updates on it from issue 10. Well, let me issue 10. Number 10 of the 10th installment of the podcast issue, and I've been writing a lot of comic issues, so that is just wired into my brain currently. Some stuff about Rock Entertainment, and some stuff about what I'm doing with Real Studios and Revelation Media. And we are also starting our Patreon the same time this podcast goes up. Today is Wednesday, the 25th, as I am recording this podcast. And by Saturday, when this podcast actually goes up, the Patreon would actually be live. So we'll be talking about that. And yeah, let's get into it. Starting with the most exciting news for me personally is that Kedoshim Studios is now a fully registered business here in Trinidad and Tobago. I am fully excited about that. It was, geez, Trinidad government workers, sometimes it's just I think government workers all around the world. It's just like a wrong about, especially since a lot of stuff have gone online. I don't have my actual certificate as yet. I did do the business registration through I think an attorney, well, a friend, well, one of my friend's moms, and she has been handling all like the registration stuff for me. And when it came to getting the certificate, we're still waiting on the certificate, but Kedoshim Studios is a registered business in the Trinidad registry now. We just, every time we go in for the certificate, it's been a thing like, oh, the person who's supposed to do it in here, they run with the paper and all kinds of stuff. So, yes, I wouldn't even say, I was about to say like periodic process, but I mean, I think the process is pretty much done. So, yeah, that is the first major exciting news. Kedoshim Studios is now registered. And for those of you that probably first time tuning in and didn't tune into the 11th installment of the podcast, not the 10th, I said 10th earlier, it was actually the 11th installment of the podcast. What is Kedoshim Studios? Well, Kedoshim Studios is a startup based in Trinidad and Tobago where we specialize in developing and producing multimedia content inspired by biblical stories, themes, and teachings. With expertise in game development, Unreal Engine virtual production, and comic book creation, we create our own in-house projects and render our services to other Christian and even non-Christian theme projects. The word Kedoshim is a transliteration of the Hebrew word Kedoshim, which translates to set apart ones or saints in English. This word was used throughout the Old Testament in passages where it refers to God's people and their call to be set apart from the world. This call to be set apart resonates with our mission as an aspiring multimedia studio dedicated to advancing the biblically inspired video games, comics, and virtual production landscape. Whether that is accomplished through developing and publishing our own projects or providing our aid and expertise to projects of other professing believers, our goal is to position ourselves to be one of these set-apart alternatives that consumers are seeking in the rapidly growing indie entertainment market, as well as aid as many of those gospel-infused alternatives that we possibly can. Gospel-infused, trademarked by Evan David. And yeah, that's what, well, that is just my business description that I have from it's also on the website. You can find the website at kedoshimstudios.com to see just all the projects that I have been a part of and that I am creating. Because by we, I mainly mean me. I'm the only actual employee of Kedoshim Studios right now. But hopefully one day, and well, preferably of course, we'll have a full team. So yeah. So as I said, it's all about making our own in-house biblically inspired video games, comics, and virtual production content, as well as rendering our aid in any way that we can towards other professing believers, their projects, as well as even I don't mind doing a non-Christian project as well. But my main priority is Christian projects, which leads right into Rock Entertainment with DLM Christian Lifestyle, Daniel Merritt of DLM Christian Lifestyle. That has been a lot of fun to have along with the development. I am at Rock. I am currently the acting scrub master, which is a kind of not is a management role, but not one where I have any direct say into art style and those kind of things. It's more so like a middleman between the managers of the studio, which is Daniel Merritt, his wife Nikita, his friend Donnie, his brother Hunu Andy, and making sure the line of communication between them and all the other teams, as well as the team leads like the art team, the level design team, the programming team, the music team, making sure that everyone knows what their task is so that we can be firing out on all cylinders. As well as I did video editing. The second video up on the Rock Entertainment channel right now is one that I edited with Chuck, the lead editor of DLM Christian Lifestyle, doing some extra touch-ups when the video went before the video went live. And I have done some level design for the main campaign map, which is like your mission selection map that we have, as well as doing some level design for doing one of the complete later levels in the game. Well, not really later, still deciding where that level is gonna go. And just general helping our level design, helping out with creating the paths and those kind of stuff for the levels, touching up on the environment, make sure it has all the things necessary for AI to be working and all those kind of stuff. I also helped out with doing the game balancing, as well as just in the concepting of the hero abilities for the judges. I helped out with some of them, just like making sure it's streamlined on how it's gonna be implemented and all those awesome stuff. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been a part of it for 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years. I think September, the weekend that the Rock launched, which is 2 weekends ago, which was the weekend of the 9th, made it 2 years to date of when I sent email my email to Daniel on wanted to be a part of the team, and it has been a lot of fun. And I would just run some clips from Daniel's videos across his DLM Christian Lifestyle, Men's Lifestyle, and the Rock Entertainment channel on what Rock Entertainment is.
Hey guys, we have been busy here at DLM. We've created a Christian gaming company called Ruach Entertainment. Check this out.
I will bring judgment upon you.
So the company is called Ruach Entertainment. Ruach meaning the Spirit of God, meaning we want to create spiritual games, right? And so I just need to make this clear. We don't aim to create just one Christian game for Christians. Our aim is to create a Christian gaming company that will create a lot of games for specifically unbelievers as well.
Yeah, got some awesome things planned in the pipeline, and I'm just really honored and grateful to be a part of it, especially to see where I've also been doing some research and development stuff for the second game, and that has been a lot of fun. Shout out to Imani Game Dev on all socials. It's been really fun working alongside her with our research and development tasks of make it, break it, fix it, and figure out how to archive it kind of task for the time being. So yeah, that's it with Rock Entertainment. All links for it will be linked in the blog post of the podcast, which would be on the Xplanations website, where these podcasts are the blog posts for the podcast are hosted. Well, I think I'll also put some of the links down in the description, which by the time you will know. If you look in the description and there's only one link pointed to the blog post of the podcast, then all links will be there, because I think it might be redundant to put the links in the description and do the blog post at the same time. But yeah, that's the update on Rock Entertainment. Highly recommend and encourage that you go and check out all all our stuff over on the YouTube channel as well as across all of Daniel's channels. The next project that I can give some updates on that isn't an actual in-house Kedoshim Studios project is my actual day job with Real Studios as an environment designer and Unreal Engine operator. And that has been it's been very busy, very, very busy, but it has been a lot of fun when Unreal isn't crashing and have to figure out how to fix the render issues in the pipeline and those kind of stuff. But it has been we're currently working on 3 projects kind of simultaneously. Which, as I say, it's been busy and hectic, but we I can't really talk 100% on what the projects are until they actually reveal it. I am running the background of it should be a time lapse of developing a beach area, animated beach area for one of the projects that was shown, at least this iteration of the environment was already shown, but I can't talk about the further developments on it until Real Studios officially puts it out there. So yeah, but when those eventually hit the public, it might be a podcast episode all onto itself. So yeah, that's it for the Real Studios updates. On to our actual in-house Kedoshim Studios projects. Starting off with Intercession, it is officially out of the concept stage with all the characters being fully developed in the sense of what their armor of God is going to look like, and the general outline for the story is being written currently by me. I currently have the story outlines for issue 1, 2, and 3 done. Just need to run it through the actual proper production pipeline of my editor. But still looking for I have someone in mind for an editor. And the homie Evan David, well, I am his self-proclaimed number one fan. When he gets time, because he is a very, very, very busy guy. Shout out to Evan David. Be sure to go check out his Patreon as well as all his projects. He is down to help me with dialogue because I personally don't have the confidence in my ability to write dialogue for a story. I have confidence in the idea that I have for it. I mean, I've spent a good amount of money at this point in concept art behind the concepts. I personally don't have the confidence as yet in writing dialogue. So Evan will help me out with writing the panel to panel dialogue because I personally believe that his panel to panel dialogue in his comics is honestly the best of the 65 plus comics that we have covered. I think we've reached 70 Christian themed comics that we have covered on the channel. He has the best panel to panel dialogue in my opinion, and I would love for him to do the panel to panel dialogue of Intercession, at least for the first couple issues until I build that muscle, because right now I like that that I ain't eating meat is the best way to say. I think I currently still on milk in regards to that aspect of writing. I have been reading Brian Michael Bendis's book on writing comics named Words for Pictures: The Art and Business of Writing Comics and Graphic Novels, and it has been very, very insightful into how the process is done at Marvel and outlining and all those things. I don't say that to mean that I want to eventually write a comic for Marvel. That is not in my personal desire. Kedoshim Studios and Xplanations came out of my disdain towards certain Marvel comic stories that were just blatantly twisting the Bible and flipping the Bible and all kinds of stuff in the comic panels and all that whatnot that we are all that we all know of at this point with currently Marvel. So my goal isn't to write for Marvel. It's to write my own stories, but of course, could also glean wisdom and knowledge from those guys. And the book has been helping a lot so far, and I have been quite enjoying it. For Intercession, the pencils are going to be done by Ken Bowden for the foreseeable future, with the colored artwork being done by Michael Woods, which check out this colored artwork for the first two team pinups by Ken Bowden. It was the pencil were done by Ken Bowden, as I said, and the colors were done by Michael Woods, and this is the full squad. We have in the 11th installment of the podcast, I used this image just to like talk about each character individually, and now we have them in full color. We have Kadosh wielding his hammer of war on flames with his full black and gold armor. We have Majin in his full supersized armor, bigger than everybody, because he represents he is a personification of the term the Lord is my shield. Kadosh is the hero word for holy turned into a superhero. We have Naka, who is the hero word for strike. His call sign name is the hero word for strike, and that means he is inspired by the sons of Zariah throughout David's conquest. They were David's nephews. The two of them were his commanders in army. Well, Joab was the general of the army, and Abishai was the commander of the army. And in whatever story they are referenced, they were skilled warriors, and that is Naka as well. He is a skilled warrior. We have Omega in her silver and blue armor, Rafa in her purple and gold armor, Anya in her white kind of battle dress with gold over her gold armor. And it has been writing the story, interacting with Ken and Michael. James Newen of Alphared, the creator and writer for Alphared and the artist for all of the Alphared comics, is on to do the cover art for the foreseeable future once schedules align. So yeah, it has been, as I say, it's been awesome. The ideas have been flowing prayerfully, just praying on general direction and God's will with the project and how to, the aspects of the project that God has given me the free will to just do my own creative stuff to make sure that it is solid. I am currently in the process of getting someone to review the concept before we actually go into full production and actually start doing artwork to make sure that the concept of each issue is theologically sound, because as we know, that is a very important thing for me personally on the Xplanations channel, making sure that even though it is fictional, it is a purely fictional series, I want to make sure that it is still theologically sound. And for anyone wondering what is Intercession about, probably the first time you are tuning in, I want to know what it's about. Well, Intercession is a thrilling superhero themed series rooted in a fictitious exploration of spiritual warfare, drawing inspiration from the concept of intercessory prayer found in Ephesians 6 verse 18, praying at all times in the Spirit with all prayer and supplication. To that end, keep alert with all perseverance, making supplication for all saints. While other superhero tales might feature heroes gaining powers through radioactive spider bites or extraterrestrial origins, our approach offers a different departure. Instead, our cast is composed of heroes whose code names / call signs are primarily derived from Hebrew words linked to an aspect of God's character, like Nisi, Rafa, Majin, Suri. Their abilities are not mere accidents or cosmic coincidences, but are instead rooted in biblical events and astounding metaphorical passages within Scripture. So what I mean by biblical events and astounding metaphorical passages in Scripture, it's mainly, so currently continuing on the concept, their powers are called spiritual gifts. Yes, taking direct inspiration, a kind of fictionalizing of the spiritual gifts that Paul mentioned in 1 Corinthians 12 verse 4 to 11. But the fictionalizing aspect is I love the metaphorical passages in the Bible. So stuff like when it talks about the sword of the Lord and those kind of things. So I take those and I create them into actual like superhero style abilities. So say for example, Kedoshim's Hammer of War is inspired by the passage in Jeremiah. I can't remember the exact verse where God was telling to Jeremiah, "Is my word not like a hammer that has the ability to break mountains and nations and all of that?" And that is I turned it into a kind of spiritual weapon of warfare for Kedosh named Hammer of War. So it's stuff like that. I believe the Asprey comics also has that kind of take on spiritual gifts, but there's spiritual gifts. To me, I haven't read it, but it is on my list to review on the channel. And just for research purposes of what else is out there within the Christian entertainment space, because I never want to be the kind of author that comes in and say, well, my project is the first to ever do this, only to realize that there's like a bunch of other brothers and sisters in Christ who have already done it years before I did. So that is my general concept for Intercession and how spiritual gifts will work within the series. If anyone is wondering also, how does this work? Is it kind of like they become like warriors physically or something? I am doing everything within a fictional approach to, as I say, spiritual warfare. So most of their like conflicts and stuff take place in the spiritual realm. And the best way to draw proof of concept or like proof of reference is Doctor Strange actually. But yes, I know it's a weird pull, but it's kind of like how Doctor Strange operates in Marvel, where most of his stuff takes place in the like astral realm and all those kind of stuff is similar to that. But like in true Christian inspired spiritual warfare, not using demonic powers to fight demonic entities to then get more powerful to then fight more demonic powers using demonic powers. None of that is like true, but obviously fictitious, but basically rooted in spiritual warfare through intercessory prayer, where Christians within the series are able to transition in and out of the spiritual realm once they begin to engage in prayer. So that is the current angle of the story. This is the current concept art and stuff that we have for it. I currently have made my first payment for the first couple of pages, so those will be coming out very soon. The first issue launch date hopefully will be in March of 2025. So I can't wait to continue sharing more with you guys and for you guys to eventually get your hands on Intercession. Our next project that I could provide an update on is Parables of the Set Apart Deception, which is my first to market video game, meaning that I've done a lot of like just one level games, concept stuff, Udemy courses that I turn into like full-fledged levels as we are currently doing with our Christian top-down shooter. I just like saying that a lot. With our Christian top-down shooter for inspired by Parables of the Remnant issue 4. Just want to say shout out to Bill again for allowing me to use his IP in those kind of ways. We are getting close to the end of that project. Spun up the live stream on Sunday to do some development work, and we just had a awesome conversation in there. And I didn't do any kind of development stuff. Just had a really cool conversation with Jaden and Scott Stinker and Realistic Christian Gamer that spiraled from a just, I think, Realistic Christian Gamer dropped Proverbs 5 verse 3 on commit your works to the Lord and he will establish your plans and was the meaning of that. And it just spiraled into a really awesome conversation and I didn't know development work. But we are close to finishing that off. We're doing the last section of it, and then that would be bagged and tagged and done. The Parables of the Set Apart Deception is going to be my first game that I am going to be placing on online storefronts, mainly the Steam store and the Epic Game Store, which means that it won't be coming to console because I currently don't have the expertise. Maybe by the time I actually finish the game, which I am aiming to finish everything by August next year, and have it released by the holiday season of next year, 2025. But I currently don't have the expertise to be able to get it ported onto console. Who knows? Maybe within God's will and plan, by time the game come out, I will be announcing it that it's going to Xbox and PlayStation. But currently, in developing it, I am mainly developing it for PC only using Unreal Engine. Well, currently starting up the base code of the game, which I do in another Udemy course on a action RPG combat system. That would be the base code of the game that I will then build upon for the different spiritual gifts within Parables of a Set Apart Deception. We have all the concept art for it done, at least for the three main bosses who you would be fighting throughout the game, which shall be the Angel of Light, the Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, and the Roaring Lion. And Justin Fernandez has done an amazing job with the concept art for all three of these bosses. I love it. I mean, we did go back and forth just to make sure it fits into like what my 30-page document for each of them described them to look like, at least the head idea that I had, and he knocked it out of the park, especially for the wolf in a sheep's clothing. This concept really, really hit the mark. I love it a lot. In order, I like the wolves in sheep clothing the best, then the Angel of Light, then the Roaring Lion. But throughout Parables of a Set Apart Deception, it's the theme of the game, which I like. So Parables of a Set Apart is like an anthology-based idea that I have. It's multimedia anthology. So we'll have comic books that are based on, that are within Parables of a Set Apart Deception, but then you'll have like the games that I'm making that would be named the Parables of a Set Apart. And Parables of a Set Apart Deception is the first one where the main theme is about overcoming deception. And for the enemies, I am using, it is all three of the enemies are based off of scriptures that personify the devil when he is spreading deception. So your wolves in sheep clothing, your Angel of Light, and your Roaring Lion seeking whom he may devour. So those are the three bosses for the game. Just have to get around to knowing how to code a wolf that's dressed like a sheep that would jump and lunge at the player. And of course, those are the enemies. But of course, we have to have the main character, the set apart one, and Justin nailed the concept that was first done by Joshua Whittaker. We did a complete revamp and rework of what Joshua Whittaker did a long time ago. Well, a long time ago, it was last year, December-ish. Joshua Whittaker was watching one of the Xplanations videos where we broke down, we were breaking down one of the Remnant comics, and part of it I was saying it would be really cool to have a character named This is a part one run alongside the Remnant, and he just took my description and made a character, made it into a kind of character that he was suggesting I could use as a just as a channel mascot. And from that was how the first iteration of Parables of the Set Apart Deception started to come together. Joshua was on board to do the initial concept art, but just timing and scheduling and other plans, he is no longer a part of the project. But Joshua, if you are watching this podcast, dude, as I say, from back then to now, I greatly appreciate everything that you have done for it from the get-go. But now Justin is the main concept artist for it, and he has been doing a amazing job. I love the concept that he has. What he has done with Set Apart One, just like realizing the full concept, and him fighting some enemies. So yeah, it has been awesome. As you see in the background, just some rough gameplay. The first prototype of the game that I made, just conceptualizing my idea for the combat system. Currently, it's called the Faithful System. I want to change that name, but I don't really like the name. But it's just the only name that has come to my mind currently, if anyone has any suggestions. But it's currently called the Faithful Combat System, and with it, within it, your abilities and stuff it's mainly garnered on the Shield of Faith, so blocking and all those things. And when your resource bar, after like blocking enough attacks or whatnot, your resource bar will reach a certain point where you go into what I am calling Faithful State. For now, I don't really like the name all that much, But when you go into that state, you get access to your spiritual gifts. Currently, the only two coded are a charge and a shield throw. But as following the same concept of intercession, of turning certain metaphors and biblical events into actual like superhero style abilities, I aim to have an option where player can equip 3 of 6. So you can do any combination of 6 gifts. And once you're in the faithful state, you'll know because your body will glow up. You're like certain aspects of the armor will glow, and your shield and your sword will glow. And once you're in there, you take less damage, you do more damage, and you have your, as I say, spiritual gifts. So that is the general concept of parables of the set apart deception. It has been coming along. Concept I used to see is amazing, and I have been continuing to piece together the code for the game, aiming for a, as I say, holidays 2025 release date, with having the full game done by August, so that between that window is just polishing, and well, yeah, that's it. Cool. So that's it for parables of the set apart deception, and really that's it for all our in-house studio announcements. Because now that those things are just actually going along in development, I feel fully confident and comfortable in announcing the Kedoshim Initiative Patreon. Yes, I finally started a Patreon because these projects need some other sources of funding. A lot of it currently is out of pocket. Thankfully, the YouTube channel has been monetized and has actually been covering its own expenses recently. For example, the book that I bought from Words of Pictures, that was actually bought from my first YouTube monetization payment, as well as the Fortnite creator code set apart. That helps a lot. I just want to say shout out to whoever is using that code. I don't know who uses the code, but people have been buying V-Bucks a lot with that code, as well as buying games with that code as well. Someone recently bought Black Myth Wukong with the code, and I got the kickback for it. So I just want to say a huge thank you to anyone that uses that code. My first payment from the YouTube channel has covered 2 years, the 2-year subscription for the Xplanations website, the website for Xplanations. I also got a stream deck to help out with streams, so that I don't have to bring across OBS onto the stream. Could actually like be pressing it and stuff now. And I am actually talking to you from a boom arm that I also bought with the monetization money. So just want to say thank you guys for the support, especially for those of you that support us via the using code set apart whenever you or your child or whoever plays Fortnite and buys something in the item shop. That kickback does help a lot. And now we are going to be starting for a Patreon for whoever wants to support us. There still will be things that go on the Patreon for free, because I understand that not everyone, of course, can do start at the base there of $5 a month and then go up. So there would still be some content on Patreon that will be going up for free. The first 2 things that would, of course, would be going up on Patreon for free is actually the current version 0.01 of Parables of the Set Apart Deception, which you are seeing in the background. That should be the background for a while now. That build is packaged out of Unreal. It is Windows only, so for the Mac people, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do the make a Mac build of the game because I don't have a Mac, so can't really code it. Well, I don't know how to do it currently. I would look into seeing how to do it, but it is you could download it and run the first playtest build of it. It would be available for download over on Patreon. And what are some of the perks you are going to be getting over on Patreon? Well, obviously, behind the scenes access to the in-house Kedoshim Studios projects. This is strictly my in-house projects of Kedoshim Studios and not anything that I do with Rock Entertainment or Real Studios.
there won't be any behind the scene access to know what is going on behind the scenes with Daniel's video game company and stuff. Just making sure to put that clear. Would put a disclaimer over on Patreon as well, and neither what I am doing over at Real Studios. This is just Kedoshim Studios projects, which currently in the works are Parables of a Set Apart Deception, the video game, and Intercession, the comic book. I would be throwing up some inked comic panels as they come out from Ken Bowden over on Kedoshim, as well as some game development progression. Some of it will be, of course, free to view from anyone over on Patreon, but then there will be some things that are locked behind the paid tiers. Our first paid tier is Keep On Explaining, which is just our base tier. You get some basic behind the scenes access into what is going on, as well as some inked comic panels, and just to continue to see how the game development progression is going. My Patreon tiers are very much heavily inspired by this guy Raymond, who did I think about his name, but the guy who did Project Feline, who was doing Project Feline. It's one of those. His devlog is one of the things that really inspired me as well to do my own devlogs for my project. So it's based off of that kind of Patreon pricing model and tiers. So you have the $5 tier, Keep On Explaining. That's $5 a month. You get behind the scenes access to what is going on with Kedoshim Studios, as well as inked comic panels from Ken Bowden as they come out, and some of my game development progression. The $10 a month, which is Kedoshim Contributor, you get all the previous benefits of the Keep On Explaining tier, some deeper behind the scenes access, so more stuff on like direct what they're doing with the code and those kind of things, and like actual when I like prototyping enemies and those kind of things, as well as being placed on the beta reader list for our comics, which are Intercession and Parables of the Set Apart. We actually have a tie-in comic that once the fellas get time, Evan David and Joe Spicer, they will be doing the tie-in comic for the game for next year, December. Is my goal to have that out, as well as early access to the alpha playtest builds of anything that we do in Kedoshim Studios. So as I say, there would be some things that would be put up for free, but those under the Kedoshim Contributor tier will be getting some early access to the alpha builds of the game. Then there's the Kedoshim Insider. Now, I also want to put out a caveat that all these tiers and prices are subject to change. I just went with the what I see commonly within the indie space. Of course, they are quite high, of course, but they're all subject to change as just time goes on and more advice and those kind of things on what is the best route. I just went with the basic tier plans that I saw, and that is currently what I implemented to start off with. The Kedoshim Insider tier is $20 a month, and you'll have the ability to make select Easter egg style decisions in our comic and video game projects. So let's say the characters of Intercession, like sitting the storefronts and those kind of stuff. If you have your own business, you could put your own business on a billboard or something like that within the comic, or you yourself could appear as an extra in the comic. And within Parables of a Set Apart Deception, I'll probably spell your name out in the grass or something like that. If you want to make a homage to someone, where while Set Apart one is walking through the caves, I could put like some caveman inscriptions on the rocks with like something that you wanted to appear there. Just like some fun Easter egg things within the game. This is currently in the talks. I did get some thumbs up from the creators because I didn't mention it to them. But for the Kedoshim Insider, and I'm saying this is subject to change just once pricing and everything. Once I fully understand pricing and stuff for the Patreon and continue to do more research into it, and even suggestions from you guys as well on what is like the better price points as well, because I mean everything is obviously supply and demand and what the actual supporters want to see. we would also be in one of the tiers, the Kedoshim, currently under the Kedoshim Insider tier, you would be getting a free comic book from a select series that has been reviewed on the Xplanations YouTube channel. Still currently in the talking process to get the first couple. I want to have a solid content cadence for that every month there would be a free comic. But I did talk to Bill Ropp of Grok Comics, the Remnant, which is the comic that we've reviewed the most. And he is 100% on for it. We just have to solidify what the pricing between him and I is going to be. Because I would pay him upfront according to the amount of members on that particular tier that could take access to it. And we will have a kind of publisher to retailer kind of agreement and deal between Bill and I would also be extending it to some of the other creators like James Nguyen of Alpha Red and those guys, especially like Starcross and just some of the who have become like friends of the channel at this point that we have reviewed all this stuff. And for those of you, this is like the ultra mega tier, Kedoshim Steward, all the previous benefits and whoever takes this tier will 100% be memorialized in our projects, in the credits, probably like on a thank you rock somewhere all over in the within the project. So obviously I want to make sure to do everything like all the Easter egg stuff in a way that it doesn't break the immersion of the game, because Parables of the Set Apart Deception in particular, for example, is kind of like the current concept for it is like a adventure through a kind of jungle, the Valley of the Shadow of Death kind of vibe. That's the kind of vibe I'm doing for it, where you would be venturing through the Valley of the Shadow of Death, following a straight and narrow path. And it would kind of be weird to just do a hologramic message of somebody's, like, I don't know, like homage to somebody in it. So obviously it would be contextualized within the project, but you would be memorialized in the project. So if I takes this $50 tier, you are awesome. Is the best way I can put it. You would also have the ability to make select design decisions into the project. So more, not just like Easter egg level stuff, but like actual where it is like there's like choice based stuff, probably like polls and stuff on should this enemy do this or that or which animation style, and that's like the current head idea I have it. You'll be able to do some select design decision makings into my projects like that, as well as a merch store discount with our Xplanations merch that I have currently in the process of setting it up, but you'll have a merch store discount onto the Xplanations merch store. So yeah, that is the Kedoshim Initiative tiers. Just to reiterate, the $5 a month tier, Keep On Explaining, the $10 a month tier, Kedoshim Contributor, the $20 a month tier, Kedoshim Insider, and the $50 tier, Kedoshim Steward. The $5 tier gets you to see inked comic panels and behind the scenes game development progression. The $10 tier gets you more behind the scenes stuff, such as becoming a beta reader of the comic and early access to the playtest builds before anyone else. The $20 tier gets you to make select Easter egg decisions into our projects, like being memorialized somewhere or like your name carved into a stone or something like that. And as well as a free comic from one of the comics that we have reviewed on the channel once I solidify the agreement with the creators of the comics. And the $50 tier just gets you everything else and memorialize into the project, as well as actually making greater decisions that would actually have an impact on the design of the game, like abilities or particle effects or those kind of stuff, as well as a merch store discount. Which, transitioning out of the Patreon, we have our merch store. I did set it up a while now, but I just personally wanted to buy some of the merch first before I put up the merch store, just so I can know what the quality of the merch will be that you guys will be getting, and the merch store would be live around the same time that this goes up. You can find it at the Xplanations. I think it's Xplanations.com/merch. The current items, the current collection on the merch store, it will be our motto scripture. Well, you could see a picture of your boy in the hoodie. Is our motto scripture, Luke 12, verse 48, which says, "From whom has been given much, much more will be required," as well as the Xplanations logo and a champion hoodie of the Kedoshim Studios logo, which feels so good. The quality of that champion hoodie is really nice. I bought it the other day with all the other stuff. It came in and it feels really, really, really good. The quality of it is really nice. I really like it a lot. So yeah, that's it for the merch store and the Patreon. As I say, some things would still be free because I know they are those within the Xplanations community that won't be able to directly financially support the endeavors, but you guys are like my biggest cheers, which I am. I have not myself. I wasn't able to support a lot of the creators that I liked financially for a long time, but I believe I watched every single video of them. And I know there are some of you who look and just watch your videos and don't comment or anything. Probably don't even like the video, but as I say, there are 800 of you that tune in every month, and I just want to say thank you to all of you. And just watching the video really and truly is more than enough. If you could do extra in regards to giving, if you feel led to subscribe to the Patreon and give the extra amount, that would be awesome. But just tuning into the podcast, watching the podcast all the way through is honestly more than enough for me, because this is just, I thank God every day for the opportunities that he has given me to be doing the YouTube channel, to actually be writing comics, to be doing virtual production work. Like, got an opportunity with Real Studios that I have a 4090 computer like right next to me, like currently touching the side of it as I record with the podcast. So that is what the podcast has been recorded on. Recently got myself a Asus ZenBook Duo, 2 screens on a laptop. I just thank God for all the opportunities, because eventually I would be able to share fully the full extent of my, I think I did share a lot of it in the episode 11, if you want to know on my testimony of like just having a really, really crappy immigration situation here in Trinidad that was no fault of my own, decisions made before I was even born that has hindered my life for 5 years. 5 years of after finish high school, can't get a job, can't start college, can't do anything, angry at God, angry at my mother, and all kinds of stuff for all those years. When you're like, why God? All my friends, the youngest of my friend group when I was doing squadron gaming at the time, got reached 18, got their license, started school, and I couldn't do anything. And it was like, and now I just it's just, I mean, I'm just blown away. Really and truly, that's all I could say. I'm just blown away with what God has done in my life. And that is so rude to be interrupting us like that. But yeah, so just want to say thank you for all of you for tuning in. Thank you for your interest in what we do here at the Xplanations and with Kedoshim Studios. All of you that the DMs I have been awesome. Those of you that DM me saying that you love the content and stuff, it's just been awesome. I'm forever grateful and content with what God has done in my life. And as you guys continue to follow that journey, I honestly pray that each one of you get to, well, I think most of you that tune into the podcast know God for yourself, but know His perfect will for your life. Because there's one thing to be chasing your own will, as I described in the 11th episode of how I was chasing my own will on wanting to become this Christian esports, make this Christian esports organization. But funny fact, I'll actually put up a picture of it. I actually have a pendant of Squadron Gaming. Never got the chain for 4 years. Now got the chain from one of the other Squadron guys. He does jewelry here in Trinidad. And back in 2020, I bought a pendant from him. And only now decide, only now got, only now went and buy a chain for the pendant from him. So 4 years after buying the pendant and 2 years after this bandit sponsoring game, and just to keep up on my word, because I did tell him I would eventually buy it, and just to keep up on my word, I bought the chain. And that is like of me chasing my own goals back then, my own desires and whatnot of Christian esports, and believing that that was God's plan for my life when it was 100% my own plans, and I was throwing up to God like, but yeah, God will make straight my plan. So therefore I write out everything and then throw it up to God. I'm like, yeah, God, this is my plan. I serve in you. You're gonna make it happen and everything. And God was like, nope, and derailed everything. And now we are here talking on a podcast. And I would have never imagined half of these things like 2 years ago. Like, I had the aspirations, and I was raised by my mom to do everything in excellence unto God. So even if only one person tunes into my videos, treat it as if I have 1 million subscribers, and I have to respect people's time when they tune into this stuff. That's just the headspace that I do everything in. So it's just been like to actually see the numbers of it, see the numbers continue to grow now, and the opportunities is I just can't thank God. And on top of that, I just like to everyone, I just say, trust God in the process. Mightn't be easy. It will be tough a lot of times, at least for me personally, anecdotally, and from other testimonies I've heard. But if anything I could close off with is just trust God in the process. Yeah. Yeah, that's where we would end this podcast. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next installment with Joel Minot of Calvary Academy, the creator of Calvary Academy. We will be interviewing him in the 15th installment of the Kedoshim Initiative Podcast. So yeah, guys, do have a blessed month until the next installment of the Kedoshim Initiative Podcast.